Good morning. We're going to discuss a very, very complex, not complicated, but complex issue that is dealt with a lot in many, many versions. And to say that I have found a clear path to explain everything is not possible. There is a lot to be said about the topic. The topic is much broader than just what we learned. We'll focus on the Rambam. And we're going to talk in a general way, some specifics. So the Rambam, Perik Lamed, Halacha Yud Beis, and Hilchos Shabbos. Now, there's a lot to say about that Rambam and the other Rambams around it, the halachas around it. It can be a share for itself, but for the purpose of this share, we're going to focus just on this halacha. So the Rambam says, also his anai, can't fast on Shabbos, v'lizek, which is when there's a tzara to scream, to beg, v'lischanein, to say things of chinais, and beg in a way of china. Ulevakesh rachman b'Shabbos. And to just ask for mercy in Shabbos. It's awesome. Awesome. Okay. He goes on to tell you under what condition it would. But where is the source of this? Zog the Rambam. Zog the Yishalmi. Famous Yishalmi. Shabbos, Perek Tezvav, Halacha Gimel. Ni. Also, you're not allowed to ask for your needs on Shabbos. So Rabbi Mahu Meima Re'enu Parneseinu. Are we allowed to say Re'enu Parneseinu in benching? Amalei Teifus Brachis Keinu. It's okay, because that's the Nusach HaBracha. Now, what that means, the words Teifus Brachis Keinu, is it leads to a massive difference in understanding things. There was one way you can learn. It's part of the Nusach, and we'll see it. It's okay as long as the Nusach HaBracha. It's a Nuschois. And how far that if we go with that approach, we can generally answer most problems, except where we do make a problem. The inconsistency that you'll find is that those who are makbid very much are not asking tzracha, but certain things they will allow. So, but again, I'm going to stay away from the real complication, although I will mention perhaps some of them shortly at the end, just so that we know what's out there. Anyway, why is it asur l'tfei tzracha? Weird. Zog the korban ha'eda, and we'll see soon how it's brought down halacha. Part of Einik Shabbos is sheyachshev ha'odam ki'ilu kol melachtoi osui. You have to think that everything is done. All your work is done. Maybe that you believe it. You're not experiencing Einik Shabbos, which would make sense. And the Rambam brings it here because this is the halachas of Einik Shabbos. So, being that that's the case, how does he learn Teifus Brachas? Nusach HaBracha kachu be'English shanas mechel Shabbos leads balbul v'chasam. Don't get confused. You're going to start saying Rayenu the way we do it in Nusach Chabad. You may get confused. You might take it out. You'll definitely get confused. Okay, that's the Yishalmi. There's another Yishalmi. Mishnah says that we say Havdalah where in Chayin Nadas. Why? Different explanations are brought, but Yishalmi says very simple. You can't do Malacha before you do Havdalah. You can't ask Hashem for Yitzrach before you do Havdalah because it's asur l'tfei tzracha. Because since I'm going to start now saying my tzrachim, I have to make Havdalah. In other words, it's clear. It seems clear from the Yerushalmi that it would be forbidden to say Tfilas Yitches on Shabbos. It's called Sheilas Tzrachim. Teifas bracha. It's not called Teifas bracha because this is not a middle of a bracha. This is the whole. They got all 13, 12 of the middle of brachas. Okay. Now, Bavli does not sound like that. Bavli, it says, the Gemara says regarding a discussion, if somebody finds himself in the middle of shemonah esreh on Shabbos, and he's holding by Rafa'enu, and he's about to say, Kikel Nelech, Kikel Refe, whatever, lost to do something. About to say that David is going to take care of what you need. Or Baruch Aleinu, you're saying the same bracha. What do you do now? You wake up on Shabbos. How'd you get there? We'll leave that for another discussion. So what do you? Satan Bavli, finish the bracha and continue with Shabbos. Go back to Shabbos. So the Gemara asks the question. The Gemara says, "The la mishum teicha yoimim yut." The lost name. I'm sorry, lost name. The Gemara, why? Because Gavra bar Chiyuvehu. You're mechuyev to daven Yudches. Avos Rabbanan hu lo yadrechu mishum kvei Shabbos. It's honor of Shabbos. They don't want to require you to say all 13 and 12 brachas. So you'll end up with a long shemonah esreh. Oh, state the klar. It seems clear that that's considered. It's okay to daven the Bakashas Shachar. Interesting, and just to note, say for Yad David, brachas asks the question. Says, I understand. Who made the takonos of what to daven? You learned the Rambam Resources Brachas, all the different nusachos, and who made them? Anshe Knesset David. So let's find out what they did. Were they masakin 18 or were masakin 7? And the masakin 7, how do you say Gabra Bar Chiyuva? He says a very interesting concept. That originally the takana was to say 18 and add another bracha for Shabbos. What happened? The Chachamim came along later and were battled. The Yudches and remained only with the middle one. So, however, in the concept of Gabra Bar Chiyuva, let's see how it is treated in the Rishonim. The Erza Ruah, I'm not going to read it, but I'm going to tell you what comes out from what he says. That the isser of she'elas tzrocha, of asking for your needs, is only one thing. Don't make your own tefillah. Don't talk to Hashem about your needs on Shabbos, your own lashon. If not of tircha, clear. You covered Shabbos, you would have to daven, would be okay to daven 18 brachas, meaning 12, 13 middle ones. I keep saying 12, 13, as we know, Lamashina was added later. You can say L'kai Nitzer. It's all part of Nusach, Teifas Etzrilah. Any item that become a minug to say is called Teifas Brachas, which opens us up to a lot of things that you could do. Okay. That's the Erzarua's explanation of that Gemara. To note, in Yerushalmi, there's a machlekes. What do you do if you find yourself in the middle of Ravenu or middle of Baruch Aleinu or any other bracha? One opinion follows what it says in Bavli. Vaymer the bracha. Stop. Why? You're saying the bracha has no place on Shabbos. So that might be the machlekes, whether this could fit with what the other Rishonim is. Okay, so right now it seems we have a machlokes Bavli and Yerushalmi. Bavli holds it's okay to daven as long as a nusach hat tefillah. You shouldn't. Shelas Drachim is only an isser, doesn't have to do with tefillah, with nusach or minhag, even according to the Zerua. And Yerushalmi holds, unless it's going to confuse this bracha, it sounds like it's okay. It's awesome. Now, there are other sources that follow this Yerushalmi. Tanchuma, Parshas Vayera, says clearly, Ein, Mispalim, B'Shabbos, and Esreh, because it's going to cause Agnes Nefesh, and it's not good. Shabbos was given Kedusha, Einig, Lucha, V'Leilat Tzar. The Masavitri goes further. He goes through that every bracha is going to cause tsar. That kind of is going to cause you to think about, oh, I don't have das. Shivena, I'm a balavera. Sachlonu. We're in Golos. Every bracha is going to make you ill. Therefore, he says, don't say. This is the rest. Omaho Elikim. David said, "Lemenucha nitne Shabbos Yisrael." Then Mumispal Yudches Tfilas Unisker Maisa Umeitza. He remembers what he did or what's going on, and it'll be Benimtza Shem Shemayim Mischalol Shemechalol HaShabbos. All the Chilul Shabbos. Okay, that's so we have we seem to have a machlekes. I want to note that in Chabad, we don't do this, but in a good portion of the world, before Birchas HaChedesh, they say Yiratzin. Which Yiratzin is this? This Yiratzin is a tefillah that Rav used to say after Shemonah Esrei. And you just add the words Shetachadash Lein HaChedesh Hazeh, and you go through the tefillah of Rav. In fact, some nuschos have at the end b'schus tefillas Rav. So the Aruch HaShulchan, Siman Tov Yud Zayin, raises the roof, and he says, "This is a chiddush. You're adding it. It's not something that's nusach tefillah. Why in the world?" Why in the world do we allow it? And it's a tefillah chadasha. It's not teifus brachas. And this is bakoshes shachim as bakoshes shachim can be. He says, if I'd have the ability, I would do it, but I can't change the number. Just a note about it. So it's interesting. He does note that that's only the siman tape. I'll explain that soon, as we will see. Okay. I want to focus on what we saw in the Karmeida. The reason that you're not allowed to be shaylas shachim. Look at the Alter Rebbe Siman Shin Vav Sif Chaf Aleph. He writes that you're allowed to think about business. You're only allowed to talk about it, you're allowed to think about it. But if thinking about it is going to cause worry, it's awesome. And then he says, but mitzad the mitzvah of Einik Shabbos, you shouldn't at all think about yours. Not even thinking. Now, he brings a medrash, which is in Chilta, in Parshas Yisra. He doesn't, in Chilta Rabbi Shmuel, Parshas, it's other places. So it's you should work for 6 days, and you should do all your work. How can you do all your work in 6 days? You know, we don't finish all our work in a year, in 6 days. You're right. Ain't other young lads come along to B'Shua. Shabbos ki'ilu kol malach ta'asuyev ein loch oine gadol mimenu. You don't have a greater pleasure than that. Everything is done. Now, I want to just note, on the surface, it sounds purely relevant to business. However, there are Svarim, earlier Svarim, that use the same expression, that nothing in the world should bother you because of malach kasui. In other words, chas v'shalom, a person has a sick person in his presence, should realize malach kasui. Everything is done. It's done. You're good. Shabbos, you're good. You know, the world uses this expression. How are you? I'm good. That's on Shabbos. Good. You're good. Okay. However, I want to just note, I'm going to, this is like a bit of a sidetrack regarding this issue of Rosh Chodesh. While the Aruch HaShulchan noted that Yichad is just a siman tei, which has mekayos, because the Rishayna, when they bring the Rambam going, when he brings this thing, he says, "B'simen tei yehei lo no Rosh Chodesh, because Baruch Hu Yichad." It's all part of like b'simen tei. However, I got one problem. While we keep saying we don't ask for tzorachim on Shabbos, and the Nusach HaTfilah takes out tzorach, general tzorach. There's only one place you do find that you do. When? The Chodesh that comes on a Shabbos and Musaf. You say Shet HaChadosh Aleinu in Shemonah Esreh, the Teirul Rach Zazim Chilas Chaytos Lichasam, the whole Nusach. Telling me that you can't. So I would venture to say that Zman Kloli, Chodesh is a Zman Kloli. It's not for today. It's for the month. That's okay. I'm just suggesting. It's okay to be misvalel for a Zman Kloli on the month, because that's not about now. It's about now. That's Sheilas Tzorcha. I can ask for the month to be good. I can ask for the year to be good, like on Rosh Hashanah. It's the Sheilas Tzorcha on now, where if I would be asking a regular Sheilas Tzorcha, this is clearly has to do with the fact that there is a Zman Kloli coming. I'm a Zman Kloli now that I'm being mevarech or misvalel for. That's okay. It's just a suggestion, and there's logic to it. Okay, we mentioned that the Machzavitchi says that there's Chilul Shabbos involved there, which also needs to be here. So I think the Rebbe says that Einik Shabbos is not about. Einik Shabbos is a state of being. That's what Shabbos requires, you to be in a state of Einik. That's the din of the Rebbe says. It's the din of the Gavra. That's the Chalais of the Gavra is Einik Shabbos. There's the Hefzer Shabbos, the Gavra of Shabbos. The Gavra of Shabbos is Einik Shabbos. So it could be lack of it as a chilul in the Gavra of Shabbos. Okay. I want to be Messiah with the following: is there a machlekes Bava Yishtam? So there are those who want to come on and try to find a path of reconciliation. I want to suggest the path of reconciliation based on the Alter Rebbe, who's based on a Lavush, and based on that Rabbi that we saw, and there's a Yifei Mara on Yishalmi that says it. That the reason it's also is because of Tirdus Alev, and it's part of Einik Shabbos, and Einik Godel Mizeh. So it could be shot like this. Really, Gavra Bar Chiyuva in Inyan. However, since your chiyuv is to be Balachat Chasuya, we learn that out from a pasuk. Pasuk wants us to have the level of Balachat Chasuya. So it's not Shayach Tefillah. I can have a chiyuv to daven, but I'm not the daven for. It's over with. Go daven for what? It's not a concern in the Gavra Bar Chiyuv. It's a concern in the Hefzer Tefillah. There's no Tefillah. What am I davening for? I have nothing to daven for. Ain't no Einik God with that. Ain't no daven. There's no business. There's no tzara v'yogin. So I said that the Mefarshim say So yeah, is the right statement. The shaila is, since I have nothing to daven for, the shaila, what happens now? How do we look at it? How do we treat it now? That's where the machlek is Bavli Yishalmi, not in the etzem inyan. Yishalmi just says, since there's nothing here to daven for, there's nothing that you can't call me, you can't tell me to go finish a bracha. And that's why it's also Sheilas Shach. We find Lashanis of Tzorah, and Tsar, and with Nefesh. Yeah, that's because not everybody's on that level. So theoretically, you should be mechuyev. I believe according to according to everybody, you should be saying definitely tircha. That's why Bavli says tircha. The tircha of Tsar. Don't create Tsar. But that's not to say that the etzem, there shouldn't be a chiyuv, there shouldn't be any davening because of mitzvah the einig, because of a nachtach asuya. That's weird. That's the state that it should be. I want to add that the Rebbe in a sicha in Teres Menachem, Tavshin Nun, Pasha Sheftim, he says, I'm married to Kavod. There's two ways to understand this malach asuya. Some say malach asuya, don't think about it. Not happening. I don't know about it. No. Tasfiyah is a din of bringing this world to perfection. That in this world there is malacha and it's a suya. It's not Hetzchadah said that. And he doesn't care about it. This world is done. It's not shad, it's malach shemayim. It's in this world. And therefore it's ein lech. Okay, I want to finish up with one discussion. When I said, we got to focus on some. Obviously, now whatever you see, again, I don't know that he took out Yiratzim because of that. He could take out Yiratzim before Berchus Kainim, based on his consistent shit of not putting anything new in. There are a lot of possibilities that we can discuss, but I want to. There's definitely things that you see from Alter Rebbe was Makron, Royenu. So all of these things could be other reasons, but there's one place where the Alter Rebbe allows and others don't. We know that on Yom Tov, Berchus Kainim, we say Rebbeinu Shalom about the chalemus that we have, and in the non-Chabad Sidurim says that on Shabbos. You don't say Rebbeinu Shalom. I want to mention that in the non-Chabad Minhagim, you say that Rebbeinu Shalom 2 times. Perhaps that's why you don't do it on Shabbos. But you only do it once. It doesn't matter. The point is, that's a joke. The truth is that it's an interesting thing. That the Alter Rebbe, who seems to be more machmir in this issue, comes to Rebbeinu Shalom. I'm not getting into that sugya because it's a sugya that's for itself. And I want to just suggest, based on a lot of Makairis, and I'm not going to get into it because of time, that Birches Kainim is not a tefillah, the Rebbeinu Shalom. It's a gather of Atovas Chaleim in a different form. And we're saying, as I read somewhere, they use the Lashon, you give our Chalemus over to the Eibishter, and he's facilitating. And that's why we say that Kishem Shafacht and all that. So, in other words, therefore, it may not fall into the headings, the discussion of Levakish Shachar. This is a Atavas Chalei. What's the head of that? It's not for now, but I just want to bring that out, negate it to our IYUN. Everybody have a great day. Stark, Slocha Rabba.